Yes, we both had our own sets of problems. Like I mentioned, he wasn't very kind. But then I was unfaithful a few times and ended up.
While you was married to this guy. Wow. Young, living every day, giving it to you and cutting straight. YLE said it. Yeah, I said it, y'all. Now, today, we're going to get into this video about this lady. This lady, she cheated on her husband. Had 2 kids from 2 different dudes. Wait till y'all hear this. Let's dive into it.
It was a fairly okay childhood. I had my dad in the home, but my theory is he stopped paying attention to me when I got a mind of my own. So him and I haven't been close my whole life. We are now. But my mom is my rock, my absolute best friend.
Translation. Once I got older, I no longer wanted to listen to my dad and follow his rules because I didn't like being held accountable and I didn't like being under his structure. I wanted to go out, be free, and do what I wanted to do. Gotta translate that woman needs, y'all, because they speak very indirect. But let's continue.
And soulmate.
You're close to your mom.
Oh yeah, most definitely. What my best friend.
What would you say is the roughest part of your childhood?
The roughest part of my childhood was probably watching my parents get into some legal trouble when I was very young. I didn't even find out what they did until I was 15 or 16, but the house got raided and I watched my parents get taken away, so.
What were they doing?
They were drug dealers. So, but everybody's clean and sober now and doing really well.
Good.
Now you notice how she got all that movement and she got the smile on her face, she's smiling all the time. And she got like the colorful hair. Those women are typically a little nutty, you know? And on top of that, you know, as a teenage woman, she found out that her parents were selling drugs. Thinking your parents is one way and finding out that they the complete opposite, that's definitely going to affect you. But let's continue.
How far did you go in school?
Oh, I graduated. I graduated from my local high school in Griffith.
What kind of kid were you in high school?
I was a good kid until I turned 16. And then I started smoking weed, skipping school, doing drugs, drinking. I actually got expelled December of my senior year.
Emotional damage.
Translation. I found out what my parents was into. I didn't know who my parents was. I was completely confused. I was upset and I acted out on my anger and I started drinking, being on drugs, and which led her to sausage hopping and hooking up with different dudes. But let's continue.
For having Xanax on me. And my mom had called the school and told them. So I did get arrested. I just turned 18. At 18, for having drugs at school. And then I kind of continued to get arrested on and off and crash multiple vehicles on drugs until I turned 21 when I got clean for good.
Bitches, you crazy.
Notice she said, right? On drugs, crashing multiple vehicles. Now let you be a dude and crash multiple vehicles till you're 21 years old. You know what's gonna happen to you? You're gonna end up in jail. You're gonna end up homeless. So the point I'm trying to make is, as men, you cannot afford to make the same decision that women make because you ain't gonna get the same amount of backup. Ain't no lifelines for you, buddy. But let's continue.
Yeah.
Yeah, been 12 years.
That's great.
Thanks.
And where has your life gone since then?
It's better now. I mean, I'm a mom. I have 2 children. I'm a provisional community association manager for HOAs. I live in Reno. I just have the best boyfriend I could ever ask for. So it's been different, but where I'm at right now is good.
What have you been through between the boyfriend and moving or leaving high school?
So I moved to Reno with a man that I had known in person for just a month or so. I met him through the company I was working for.
What?
Move to a city with a guy she just met in a month. Now, as a guy, you listen, you gotta vet a girl for more than a month to make her your girlfriend. You need to understand all the different angles, all the different characteristics that come with this female, whether they're good or bad, before you make a decision to be in a relationship. You need to know exactly who you're dating. You need to do a thorough case of vetting. A month isn't enough time to be in a relationship with a girl, let alone moving in with her. That was a bad move. But let's continue, y'all.
He ended up not being the nicest man ever, but I followed him to Reno, and I was with him for almost a decade. But I probably wasn't the best wife to him.
Goddamn right.
So we got divorced in July of 2020, I believe.
You were married how many years?
We were married 6, together almost 10. Yeah.
You guys had problems.
Yes, we both had our own sets of problems. Like I mentioned, he wasn't very kind. So he did lay hands on me, be very rude to me, make terrible comments, call me names, put me down. But then I was unfaithful a few times and ended up mothering children from those men on my husband.
So you were married to your husband, but you were having children with other men.
I was.
Damn! You are a hoe!
Moved to Reno with a guy that you met after a month. And in the marriage, just because he didn't vet you long enough, like he was supposed to, before making you his girlfriend, let alone moving in with you and then making you his wife, you went out, had unprotected sex with different guys and wound up getting pregnant by different dudes while you was married to this guy. Wow. Let's continue.
And he raised them as his own and knew them to be his own until the divorce.
How did that news come out?
My lawyer had to use language in what we wanted to kind of make it a point to say that, like, he may not be the dad. You know, like, I don't even remember what word she used, but it was a word that kind of made his lawyer be like, we should probably do a DNA test.
This is what I always say in a lot of my videos. Swipe. I'm going to always know. You need to always, I don't care how good of the relationship you think you have. I don't care how consistent it's been. You need to be able to ensure that that's your child just as much as she can. Look at his case. Found out that his wife had 2 kids from 2 different men. That means unprotected sex again. Like I said before, from 2 different men. And then he decided to play father to another man's kids while that man get to run off and do what he want to do.
A bullshit? A bullshit?
Couldn't have been me. I would have gave her the boot, steel toe, caterpillar style. Go find their parents. Go find their fathers. These aren't my children. But, however, I would have known from the get-go because swipe. I'm going to always know. I will not never give a female the opportunity to make me think it's my child when it's not. I'm going to know from the beginning. But let's continue, y'all.
On these children. And he did.
Because you were looking to keep it quiet?
I wouldn't say that.
To collect child support?
You lying ass bitch.
No, oh no. The divorce agreement said no child support on either side. We were both making the same amount of money. So
You
to this
liar.
day, neither of us pays child support. But no, he got them. I didn't want to necessarily keep it quiet. I didn't want to break his heart, is what it is. no matter how mean he was to me.
You didn't want to keep it quiet. At that point, y'all was going through the divorce and they did the paternity test. So of course you weren't going to keep it quiet. Because obviously the truth is out already. But let's continue, man.
I don't use that as an excuse for what I did, because there's not an excuse, you know? And I carry a lot of guilt with me about it. And I got my babies.
Here comes the fake crying.
They're the greatest things in the whole world, but
How did he find out?
he did the paternity test, and the paternity test came back. He was 99% like not the father. And he called me and he was like, "Do you want to get in front of this?" I said, "Get in front of what? What do you mean?" And about an hour later, he had posted publicly on Facebook that he was not the father of the children.
How many kids?
2.
How old were they?
5 at the time, 4 and 2. 4 and 2. And they still know him to be their only father.
They better than me because they would have known their biological father to be their father, especially when you was married and your wife lied to you. She cheated on you. She betrayed you and went out and had babies by another man. Let those men raise their kids. But let's continue.
He still treats them as if he's the only father.
So he's still in their lives.
Oh, yeah.
It's very nice of him.
It
If that's
is.
what you want to call it.
If that's what you want to call it. This man is taking care of some kids that you ran off on him and had with another man, 2 other men at that, while you were in the confinements of a marriage. It's not if that's what you want to call it. That's so crazy that a guy go take care of another man's kids, and then her answer to that is if that's what you want to call it. But let's continue.
Call it control, but nice is not a word that people often use for this man. Anything he can do to not essentially let go of me and to kind of continue to control my life is what I think to be the reason. He sees him once a week, takes him every other weekend, maybe not even the whole weekend.
So it's an ugly divorce.
It was ugly. It went on for about 7 or 8 months, which I know is not long in most divorces, but I thought it was going to be a cut and dry, quick thing. I didn't think he was going to fight me on it. I thought he didn't like me this whole time, but here we are. So he did fight me on pretty much everything I asked for. The divorce ended pretty equal. Nobody got anything crazy. 50-50 with the kids until he ended up unhoused.
What? She said he ended up unhoused, meaning that he ended up homeless. So this man was taking care of some kids that wasn't his, and he ended up homeless all around a woman who went out in a marriage and cheated on him with 2 other guys and had unprotected sex and had 2 children. And he wound up ending up homeless. Man, that's crazy. That's crazy. Wow. Let's continue.
But yeah, he's still present. He still shows up to parent-teacher conferences. He coached my son's baseball team last summer.
Better man than me.
So he's still as involved as he wants to be.
And you would prefer that was not the case, or?
Unfortunately, he doesn't like to pick, this is going to sound bad about me, but he doesn't like to pick the best women. And I do feel that one day there will come a woman who doesn't necessarily want him to raise children who aren't his.
You're goddamn right.
Clearly he don't pick the best woman because he picked you and you cheated on him and had babies by 2 different other men. That's obvious. So if a woman come into his life and they don't want him to play father to some kids that ain't his, that's a female that's raising awareness and telling him not to be playing himself, that he's getting a bad deal. Let's continue.
I hope that doesn't happen. But if that does happen, I will have wished he had made the move sooner.
Did you premeditate this, or just all of a sudden you found out you were pregnant by somebody you were cheating with?
Oh, no, it was definitely not premeditated, but we weren't using protection.
So it was premeditated.
I didn't say, like, I'm going to have sex with this man to have a baby, you know? But I mean, I guess there was nothing done to prevent it.
Really, nigga?
Let's check this out. You hear what she said? She would wish he had done it sooner. So while you going around becoming homeless, taking care of some kids that it isn't yours the whole time, she wished you would have let it go a long time ago anyway. Man, let's continue.
And the first man that I had the affair with is now my boyfriend, the father of my first child, my son, and he was my husband's assistant manager at the time.
This gets messy.
It's very it's very messy. So my ex-husband brought him onto the team where he was working. And my ex-husband always made his assistant managers like his best friend. So he started bringing this guy around, and I made the first move, of course.
Damn! You are a hoe!
Your husband offered this guy a position on his team, let him in, treated him with respect, and became best friends with him. And not only did you sleep with him, you made the first move with him, and then you had raw sex with him and then let him bust in you? And then have a kid after that? This woman is a savage, man. Let's continue.
And I feel like I just sensed his kindness. I mean, still to this day, this man that I'm with is the kindest, most patient man I've ever met. So I think I felt that kindness from him, which I wasn't getting from my husband at the time.
Get the fuck out of here!
Kind man. How can a man be kind if he betrayed his boss, his best friend, and not only sleeping with his wife, but sleeping with his wife, his boss's wife, his best friend wife, unprotected, and have a baby by her? And he's a kind man? Woo, man. That's the case. All these Pookies and Ray Rays are very kind gentlemen at that. Let's continue. Delusion.
So I don't even know how it started beyond me just touching his hand when we were smoking joints. But one day he came over my house without my ex-husband there, and you know what happened next.
This is one reason why I see a lot of guys get real comfortable letting their girlfriends, wives be around their friends without them there. I'm not saying you be an insecure guy. But what I am saying is all that buddy, he my friend, and you allow him to be around your wife while you're not there?
Shit.
You giving him free range to make him feel comfortable enough to feel like he can move on your wife. Most guys don't turn it down when it's being thrown at him. Now, I would say you should have some loyal guys around you that have morals and principles who aren't thirsty, but at the same time, your wife shouldn't be hanging out with your homeboys when you're not around. Let's continue.
We only saw each other once a week to do this because of how my schedule, my ex-husband's schedule, and his schedule matched up. So every Wednesday, I saw him. We had sex, he watched me get ready for work, and then he'd go work for my ex-husband.
Now imagine that. The guy that you gave an opportunity to, brought him onto your team, gave him a nice position at the job, respected him, befriend this guy. He turned his back on you, and not only he's sleeping with your wife raw and busting into her, but he's sleeping with your wife in your house, in your bed. Every Wednesday, he busting gallons in your wife, touching the back of her oven, turn the lights on like holiday time, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's Eve, till she busts and faint. It's crazy, man. Let's continue.
Yeah. So that's how that one started. And again, I mean, my son is just the best human ever. So I don't regret it. And I'm with him now. And he's just my absolute soulmate. And I haven't cheated on him. But the second affair, the man is the father of my daughter, he actually worked with me this time. He was my maintenance guy at my leasing job. And again, just another kind man who was nice to me. And I would see him a lot more because we worked together. So we would take our lunches together and have sex then. And when I found out I was pregnant with my son, we were 100% sure it was my husband's, even though I was having an affair, because, I don't know, I just always felt like I could sense when I got pregnant, which obviously isn't right.
You felt like you could sense when you got pregnant. So you having sex with your husband, you're having sex with your husband's best friend that's coming over to your house and having sex with you in the bed. And then after that, at your job, you're also sleeping with the maintenance dude at your job. So not only he's fixing things at the job, but he's also fixing you as well. He's also changing your spark plugs, giving you an oil change, a tune up, you know what I'm saying? Touching the back of your oven and stroking you with passion. This girl is for the streets. Goodness. But another nice guy, huh? Touching the back of your oven. Every time a man say something kind to you, huh? Can't stop, won't stop, got a sausage hop. She, Olympian champion of the universe. Let's continue.
But I just felt it. So we were so sure. And then he came out looking like my boyfriend now. Spitting image. So there were some questions at the beginning there. But still, you have to be really sure about that to confront your wife. You know, you got to be real sure.
All it takes is a fraternity test. Swipe. When them results come back, you come in the house, show them fraternity results. It ain't no wedging your way out of that one. That's an easy go right there. Just one swipe. And you're going to find out whether or not it's going to alter your life. But let's continue.
So he didn't. People questioned what he looked like to him, and he just said no. And then with my daughter, she's Hispanic. So she came out a little more tan than the both of us. And just as she grew up, just kept that tan skin. And still, she looks so much like me. He was just like, yep, she looks like my wife. And now she looks like her dad, which is terrifying. But again, I love her crazy ass too. But
Do you have regrets about anything you've done?
I wouldn't say regrets because I got my babies. So I definitely am not going to say that I regret it. I wish I would have gone about it differently maybe. Or maybe picked a second different baby daddy. I don't know, because I didn't even think he was gonna be my baby daddy. And here we are with 3 baby daddies and 2 kids, is what I joke about. So yeah, it's been wild.
Yeah, it's been wild. You've been sausage hopping, whole Olympian champion of the universe. Yeah, for sure. Now, what she said about the other baby, translation, that's the maintenance man child. That's what that was. And obviously the child probably looked at Hispanic, so it's obvious that it wasn't her husband, which makes her feel more embarrassed about the decision that she made. Like she said, all the people around him was questioning it because they knew your wife was messing around. But again, like I say, that's why you always swipe to make sure it's your child. Let's continue.
Emotionally, what is?
I'd say yeah.
I mean, you're putting other people through emotions that they never.
Yeah, my
never saw coming.
ex-husband's family cut him off once he decided to claim the children. They didn't like that, and they threatened to sue me with fraud because of what they had bought in the children.
His family knew that those wasn't his children. And yeah, they wanted to do that because they put wasting their resources on this child, thinking that this child is biologically a part of the family, but it's not. And you wasn't being honest about what was going on because you was dick drunk. You were sausage hopping, whole Olympian champion of the universe. Yeah, let's continue.
And then, of course, I took away my ex-husband's whole life in one swift. Whoosh, house, wife, kids. So I think the craziest part is just the guilt that I always feel, like every day. And if I think about it, I cry. And I've gotten called a lot of names. And I get it, I do. But it's like I've called myself those names.
Yeah, you cheat on a guy, you betray him for his best friend, the guy's working with him, and sleeping with that same guy in the bed that y'all sleep in, and you have a baby by the guy, then you sleep with the guy at your job. Yeah, he's gonna have some names to call you. But let's continue.
More than anybody else has.
You're harder on yourself than everyone else.
Absolutely. And my mom used to say, the people who love you. Like, they're not going to judge you. And I know that. Everybody who loves me has been so supportive and so amazing, but
The people who love you is gonna be honest with you and hold you accountable for your bad decisions. And another thing, like she said, is she felt bad, so she say, because she ruined his life in one swift. Did y'all hear that? She ruined his life in one swift. This is why, as men, listen, you don't get mad at this woman. You look at this, you listen, you learn from this mistake, and you do a better job at vetting. This is why you have to vet properly. You have to be thorough. You have to be on point. You got to be sharp. You got to pay very close attention to what's going on, because like she said, in one swift, she took his life. This is what happened when you don't choose the right girl. They can ruin your life easily and go on about their business and act like nothing happened. Notice she went on with her life and she's still in a relationship with the dude that was his best friend. Telling you, man. But let's continue.
I judge me.
Was there a little bit of revenge or satisfaction in what you did?
No.
No?
My babies, I guess, would be the satisfaction, but no, it didn't even make me feel better because he was never any nicer to me. He still treated me like crap, and still, no matter how he treated me, I still feel like this about what I did to him.
I don't give a fuck, Keisha.
You had a baby with his best friend in a house that y'all was in. Then you had a baby by another dude at your job. And then after the divorce, you go run off and be with the guy that was his best friend. Not only you betray him, your disloyal wife, you embarrass him, humiliate this guy, but then you go run off with the dude that you did the dirt with that was supposed to be his best friend. Absolutely, he feel that way about it. The man that she's in a relationship with, do he know that he's biologically the father of one of the children? Because if not, that make you a bad person as well. He's a piece of shit. You can't trust no female that's cheating on your best friend to be with you. What do you think gonna happen to you? But let's continue.
Because it sucks. I ripped his whole life away in one document.
Yeah, that would be a horrible thing to go through.
And it's like, I didn't come out unscathed. He was mean the whole process, but my life wasn't ruined.
Heard what she said? I didn't come out unscathed, even though he was mean to me the whole process. But my life wasn't ruined. Notice his life got ruined. Translation, I ruined his life, but guess what? My life's still going okay. I got to run off, hop on dicks with his best friend that I betrayed him for, and life is still going smooth for me. And to me, like, I gotta repeat myself. It's wild how she just saying how he was treating her badly. How is a man supposed to treat you? What, he's supposed to treat you like a queen or royal queen with respect and loyalty after you betrayed him and embarrassed him, humiliated him? How you expect to be treated after such? Let's continue.
my whole life wasn't taken away from me. So I always feel worse about what I did to him than anything.
You lying ass bitch.
If you felt that bad about what you did to him, then why you continue to go on and have a relationship with the dude that was his best friend? Have a relationship with the guy that's really the biological father of one of the kids. You don't feel that bad about it. Let's continue, man. This is all cap.
That's what gets me every day.
What was the hardest part of the marriage for you?
My treatment, the way I was treated, and the fact that my dad was never very kind to my mom. And I won't use that as an excuse, but so therefore I feel like I kind of let men treat me terribly my whole life. I mean, now I'm a badass bitch and I'll rock your shit, but I let men treat me bad my whole life. I always joke that I grew up around mean men my whole life, so now I know how to handle them. That was the hardest part, because I don't want my daughter to do what I did. You know, I want both my kids to be treated respectfully and kindly, and they see that now, but
Your relationship with your father was
tumultuous.
tumultuous?
Yeah. I was a daddy's girl until I could form my own opinions, I say. Once everything daddy said wasn't right and wasn't true, that's kind of when I don't want to say didn't care. He just stopped being so present in my life.
Translation. Once I stopped listening to my father, I stopped taking his advice. I started going out, doing everything that's the complete opposite of what he raised me to do, breaking the boundaries, the standards that he set for me. My dad started to look the other direction. You wanted to go out, be a HOE, a 304, and your father wasn't having that. Everything you wanted to do was against what your father instilled in you, because he was trying to protect you from making the bad decisions. And look what happened. You made your own decision as a woman and you went out and self-destruct. Like most of them do. I'm not going to say all. That's what happened with that. But her mom on the other end loved her so much and let the love and the way she felt overshadow what logically made sense in the fact that her daughter was making bad decisions. You know, men and women, we see things differently. Another thing I wanted to, she said her father had hard love on her, but I wonder what type of child you were. Because I mean, as a teenager, if you're running out doing X, Y, Z and on all kind of drugs and alcohol and going through crashing cars, you think he gonna be excited to have conversation? You think he gonna be the nicest person in the world when you in his life and you're being a complete fuck up? It's probably gonna come with some hardcore decisions. It's gonna come with some directness that you probably not gonna like. But let's continue.
And he would make comments about my weight and I got an eating just he wasn't a nice man. I know that's where I get wanting kindness so bad. He was never a nice man.
You probably was overweight. You probably was overeating the amount of calories that you're supposed to intake daily. And your dad probably told you about it. And see, her situation is she didn't want to be held accountable for her decisions. And this is what some girls deal with. They like to go out and make these bad decisions and be around women that influence the bad behavior because it feels more comfortable to be around people who are going to give you a comfort lie versus somebody who's going to hold you accountable and be honest with you and let you face what you're really doing. Let's continue.
But now he's older. I mean, and I gave him the boy he always wanted, so he's kinder. But I still can't cry in front of him. Tears are a big trigger for him. And now tears are a trigger for me when my kids cry, even though I cry every day. When my kids cry, I lose it. I just can't handle listening to someone cry. Even myself. But like I said, now we're good. I mean, I see him 3-4 times a year. He loves my kids to death. And my stepmom's great. I didn't like her my whole life, but now that I'm older, I can see that She was just doing what was best for everyone involved. My dad, mainly.
Translation: I didn't like my stepmother because my stepmother was holding me accountable for my bad decisions. My stepmother had boundaries just like my father had, and I didn't want to follow those boundaries because I wanted to do what I wanted to do. But now that I'm older and I made decisions, and now that I see the consequences for my actions, I can see that my father and my stepmother was right. That's what she's saying. But let's continue.
He's a better person because of her, for sure.
What are you proudest of in your life?
Surviving. Just being able to wake up this morning and come here, you know?
Listen, guys, you know, she got a little deep and she started talking about deleting herself due to, you know, drug and alcohol, a word, you know the rest. Listen, y'all, man, I don't need to say nothing about this video. I mean, I think she said it. And for anybody, you know, who want to see the full video, I'll make sure to put the link down in the description for you guys. You know, I appreciate y'all watching. And, you know, future references, man, if anybody have any videos that they want me to react to, make sure you send me these videos to my email. I'll put my email out there so you guys can see it. But listen, y'all, that's all I got to say about this one. Before I get out of here, guys, let's be on our purpose. Let's be on our grind. Let's get our money on point. Let's get our mind on point, the body on point, developing them social skills. Excuse me, last but not least, get you a passport, travel to a destination of your liking. But like I said before, make sure that you do your research on that place. Make sure you lock in and meet the right people. Because I'm telling you, once you make those decisions that I'm telling you about and you see it, you can't unsee it. You dang sure ain't gonna be choosing no female, go run off and be with for 1 month that you're gonna marry and she's gonna mess around and get pregnant and have kids by the guy she worked with and the guy that's your best friend that you introduce her to. Tell a friend, to tell a friend, and tell another friend. Listen, I'll see y'all in the next video. I'm out.
Yeah, got the streets on fire, feel the heat, the Wayne way. Ain't never had no handouts, put in work, I'm self-made. Superhero strength, I got the power, Luke Cage. Flexing on them haters like Drake, this is real rap, no cap.